Hello and welcome back to the Active Spirit Live Edition, a video series from Active Chartered Financial Planners where we talk about some of the hot topics, emerging trends and offer guidance in the world of finance. In this special budget edition, we're going to be taking a look back at what the Chancellor Rishi Sunak announced during his address and what it means for the business community. Joining me are Kate Helens, the Managing Director of Helens Residential, which provides social and affordable housing, and Graham Cornforth, Corporate Finance Partner at Assets, advising businesses on disposals, mergers and acquisitions. Together we will provide an insight into what the Chancellor announced and how it can affect businesses, individuals and of course what it means for our region. So fantastic news for the Tees Valley today. I'll come to yourself first, Kate. What do you think of today's news and how it might impact businesses in the Tees Valley?
I think it's brilliant news. I think it's brilliant to actually hear our region mentioned, such a high profile speech. In particular, bringing the Treasury to Darlington will have a massive impact, bring new jobs hopefully, and in particular as a business we're developing Birdtree Garden Village on the outskirts of Darlington, which is 2,000 new homes, so I think it'll have a really beneficial effect to that development for us.
Fantastic, and same to you, Graham. What do you think for our region?
Well, absolutely. The two big headlines that our mayor wanted, the Treasury in Darlington, and the levelling up, as it's been termed, to bring that to Darlington. I mean, it's a fantastic location, probably within Teesside. It's got the rail links. You can see why it's been selected. It's all about jobs, job creation, and that's a huge boost to the area. I think that can build off that sound footing. I think the Freeport thing is clearly another huge win, and obviously great credit to our local business leaders for pushing that agenda and getting those through.
Thanks, Graham. I'll come straight back to you, Graham. Do you think he's gone far enough overall for businesses? We're all in business and we all look after businesses as well in our roles. Has he gone far enough in terms of his support and the plans that he's outlined?
Well, I think this budget was always about, the budget in March is always the biggest fiscal event with the coronavirus and the COVID-19 impact. I mean, it's been dwarfed by the measures, hasn't it? I mean, 700,000 jobs lost, the economy shrinking by 10%. The measures that he's announced today have been robust in terms of the support that he's continued to pledge for the economy. So furlough being extended, that's gone further again with the self-employed, trying to fill some gaps. Critics will always say that there's always still people that are still probably missing out, but he's tried to extend it with the fourth and the fifth waves of availability of those self-employed grants. Universal credit, again, extended. The restart grants that he's trying to put out. I mean, you could go on forever with a list of those initiatives, but I think there's, probably 10, 12 major headline points of initiatives where he's tried to continually to support the business environment with what he's done. So I think his hands are tied. He's pointed it as a three-step plan. He's got the future he needs to look forward to. He's been fairly open and honest in pointing to taxation rises, but ultimately the support that's needed now, it's the plaster that's needed to try and help these businesses come through the survival stage almost still. And I think, he's continued to support business.
Thanks, Graham. And Kate, has he gone far enough for you in terms of your business and with your social housing hat on, how does it impact upon housing and, the welfare support that is being suggested?
Well, I think COVID has been fine for people. They've had enough support from the government through furlough and the universal credit. The uplift of £20 a week has made a massive difference to people. We were very concerned that he wasn't going to extend it. It would have made a difference. We're still in the pandemic and people are struggling now after a year of these measures. So it will make a real difference. I think from a business point of view, people maybe think universal credit doesn't affect them, but it does, because if people don't have the money to spend, then it affects all our businesses. Obviously mine in particular with rent levels. So we were really happy with that. Also, we've seen a lot of the young people, our young tenants struggling, losing employment and skill sets. And I think everything he's done with the Kickstart scheme and the increase in apprenticeship initiatives should all help to get people back on track. We were glad as well with the furlough. Obviously, we were worried that it was going to come to a cliff edge. So hopefully extending these measures till September will give us enough time to properly get out of the pandemic and get things more back to normal.
Yeah, fantastic. And he mentioned obviously about super deductions, which I presume would affect your business or certainly the Helens Group quite considerably. What's your thoughts on that?
It was brilliant. Not so much for Helens Residential, but we also own a concrete paving company called Oakdale, and we've been looking at investing in a new machine in that, in the region of £1.5 million. And this measure could just make the difference that we decide to go ahead with the investment. So yeah, it's probably the most important thing in the budget for our businesses, really.
Thanks, Kate. And finally to you, Graham, I think there was a lot of fear within the pre-budget that the government may change corporation tax and certainly capital gains tax for entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs relief. Have today's changes alleviated your fears in terms of the market you operate in for mergers, acquisitions and disposals?
Yeah, I think we saw with that Treasury forward guidance pre-budget that there was a lot more nervousness about those rates, as you said. I think there was nothing in the budget that I could see that was going to change that. Those reliefs were to be maintained. That gives clarity, at least for businesses when planning for succession. It doesn't mean they've got to make immediate knee-jerk reactions. Obviously, it's only in the relatively short term, because that budgeting policy will continue to evolve, but at least it gives business time to react and plan rather than sort of a sudden change to a policy that's been around for many, many years.
Fantastic. Thank you, Graham. So whatever your business, Mr. Sunak's announcement will likely have an impact on your activities, but make sure you speak with your professional advisors like your accountant or your financial advisor to make sure that you're ready for the changes. Thanks again for joining us on this episode of the Active Spirit Live Edition, and thanks again to my guests Kate Helens and Graham Cornforth, and please do join us next time.